Okay, let's get the show on the road, baby cakes. So I've only got 4 things on my list today. And then after I finish my 4 things on my list today, I will open it up for Q&A. So if you're new to this call, if this is your first call, there is a box at the bottom of your screen that says chat. You can type in there and everybody on the call can see it, including me, or you can type to me privately. If you've got questions throughout any of me talking, then you can just post your questions in the chat box. If you want to do a hot seat is where I will unmute you. Please don't unmute yourself during the call to keep the audio clear. Wait for me to give you the signal to unmute. If you want to do a hot seat with me, tell me in the chat box, and then we'll go in order of sequence, okay? And I'll unmute you and you can talk to me, and the rest of the group will type to you in the chat box. Okay, so let's start with what I have. We are recording. Right. So there's a thing going around that the guy who designed the Facebook newsfeed has departed Facebook, and that the outcome of that will be that Facebook will, in time, likely, it's not even a definite, but it does look likely that they will move away from the newsfeed setup into more community-based conversation. Now, that, from a mile deep perspective, is a positive. If you've ever, because what they're saying is that the newsfeed is like a dumping ground for everybody to put stuff in, and because of the algorithm, very much of what is put into Facebook doesn't appear in the newsfeed anyway. Now, we all know through the Kickstart how to curate the feed so that we see more of what we want to see, but there is still it's still more random than Facebook's goal to make it will be. So, for example, if you've ever been into the watch area of Facebook on my phone, see if this will count. On the phone, it's that second icon, the second from the left icon. On laptop, desktop version, I think it just says watch. But watch is like a feed of videos, but at the top you can scroll and go to all of somebody's videos. So you might click on say Dan Henry and see all of Dan Henry's videos in one feed. And I suspect that is the route, that is the future of Facebook. So it's going to be more about community. So, you know, on Facebook stories, I've got it on airplane mode, but on Facebook stories, where you have at the top here these stories, it's going to be like that. So sometimes in these stories are people, sometimes they are groups, but my prediction is that it's going to be more about you going to the place where you want to have the conversations, rather than hoping that you'll happen across them. Okay, so from a mile deep perspective, and this is all hypothetical at the minute, but from a mile deep perspective, it's perfect because we can curate a community, and through the mile deeping that we're all doing now, you will be earning attention, so that when this does happen, your people will come to you, will come to your community, will want to come to your community. Okay, so if you see any of the negativity around it, so there is a bit of it about how this is going to be the death of Facebook and how everyone's going to leave Facebook. Don't fall into it. Don't get into that mindset, because I personally believe it's going to be a positive for people like us that want to build community and build depth of relationship. It's going to be a negative for the people who just want to make noise, I think. So you don't need to worry. I think it's all going to be good. Facebook are not gonna do anything to lose. They want to no matter what we think, their goal is to create strong community, and I think that is the future. It's going to be more community based. And if you've got any questions on that, we'll come to it in a minute. But bear in mind that this is all hypothetical, but it's just the direction that you can see them already taking with watch, with stories, that I suspect will become when they do away with the newsfeed. I think that's, the newsfeed for 99.9% of the Facebook population, it's just full of stuff. We know how to curate, we know how to see what we want to see, but it's this scrolling and hoping that you happen across a conversation, where the future will be you can go to the conversation. So the people who will lose out, IMO, are the people who are not putting the effort into a relationship. Conversations are the new conversion. It's the people who don't give a shit about having the conversations who will lose out, because they won't have earned the attention when this new community feature comes into play. That nobody's going to want to go to their party because they didn't come to yours, So that don't panic. I think it's all going to be good. If that changes and it's not going to be good, then we'll work out a way to make it good again. Okay, so that was number 1 on my list. Number 2, and if you've got anything you want to say, type to me in chat. Number 2 was the hourly value rate calculator. I put that in the group recently, last week maybe. I don't know. I've lost track of time now. Now, your hourly value rate is calculated based on the amount of income that you want to make in the next 12 months, the number of weeks within the 12 months that you want to work, and the number of hours within those weeks that you want to be working. Because when you do that calculation, so if your income goal over the next 12 months is 100k, and you want to take 6 weeks of holiday, that means you've got 45 weeks of the 52 weeks that you are going to be income generating. And on those 45 weeks, you are, no, that's not right. So you want to take 7 weeks of holiday, just so I can use 45. I should never try to do maths in my head. And then for those 45 weeks, you want to work, say, 15 hours a week, right? So 100 grand divided by the 45 weeks that you want to work gives you your weekly value. Divide 100 grand by 45 divided by 15 gives you your hourly value. Now, if you waste any of those hours, you have to compromise somewhere. You're either going to have to compromise in the number of hours that you are working, you're going to have to give it back, or you're going to have to compromise it in the number of weeks that you are working, or you're going to have to compromise it income-wise. Now, what is a waste is subjective, because what you see as a waste of time might not be what I see as a waste of time. What I see as a waste of time, you don't. But the purpose of doing so, it's not about actually saying, this is a waste and that isn't a waste, but it's about you having facts to be able to make the calculation, to know your number, and then to make the decision based on whether you want to A, pay that money, or B, compromise it. Because, for example, if somebody, a random person, messages me and says, I'm on the Isle of Wight on holiday, would you like to meet for a coffee, right? Let's assume that it's going to take 15 minutes to get there and 15 minutes to get back, and I'm going to be in the cafe for an hour. That's an hour and a half. Then, I don't know about you, but I can't come sit back down and go straight back into the zone. I have to ease in. So let's say that 2 hours in total that I am not generating, I'm not doing an income focused activity, right? So now either I have to give that 2 hours back by sacrificing hours that I wasn't out, so the 15 hours that I would want to work, to say that's 3 hours a day, Monday to Friday. I've either got to carry on working to pay those hours back, or I've got to I've got to say, well, okay, I'm not going to work any more hours. I've just thrown those 2 hours away if I have, and now that means I won't make the 100 grand. No, I'm thinking from your side of it here. So whether it's a waste is, we all do prospecting. All of this mile deeping is all prospecting. If it's genuinely prospecting, then it's not going to be a waste, because you can see that there is a potential ROI on it. But if it's fat, if it's not somebody who's going to be a client, or not someone that reasonably within the next 12 months could expect to become a client or recommend you, and they're literally just trying to maybe pick your brains, then that's a compromise that you may not want to make. And the point of doing the hourly value rate calculation is so that you know what that amount is. So if somebody wants to pick your brain and you give up 2 hours of your time, and an hour, the value of your hour is 200 quid, would you pay that person £400 to pick your brain? Probably not. In which case, you can try either say no to the invitation, or you could suggest you do a 10-minute Zoom call instead. But you with the actual information to know what the outcome of this decision will be. That makes sense. So you can look at everything more objectively. So an idea of wasted time would be scrolling through a group feed and not engaging, because nobody can see it unless you engage. Nobody knows that you're there, and you've just spent that £200 to hide. Not even in the corner, because in the corner you can be seen. Well, you are literally invisible. You just paid £200 to be invisible, and that is what I would consider a waste of time. But do the calculation. I'll pop the link to the spreadsheet when I put this post in the group. If you haven't done your calculation yet, do it and review it every year, because as you set new goals, or anytime you change your goal, and just keep that number somewhere where it's really visible to you, so that anytime you are asked to give your time to something, or anytime you are deciding whether to give your time to something, you can see that number and know whether it's going to be in your interest. You're going to get a return. You are likely to get a return. Whether if it's not likely, you want to, because not all ROI is financial. If your child is doing an assembly tomorrow, the ROI of that is an emotional one. There is an emotional value in paying £200 to be at the assembly. That's not what we're doing here, but it's about you knowing what the cost to you is. Does that make sense? So I'll put, and then we'll have to decide to make the choice, not just unconsciously throwing it away. So I'll pop the link to the spreadsheet to calculate it when I put this replay in the group. And if you haven't done it yet, do it, because it's an interesting number. But it's not, just to be clear, your hourly value rate is not the chargeable rate. That won't be the amount that you charge your client. It's just an internal number for you to know what value that hour is contributing to your goal. Yep. Okay, and then the next thing for this month's group focus project, I haven't done it yet, but I'm going to suggest that we do a friend request review outreach type of project, warm outreach or hot outreach, type of project. So to get you more accustomed with the whole network, the way of using your personal profile for networking and expanding your network. So I'll get that training done maybe within the next week to 10 days. That training will be there. If you didn't see March's, go back into unit and you can see the additional resources that you've been given so far. There's a template for testimonials. There's a 4-3-2-1 strategy for you to tick off that you're doing sales activities daily. Some questions for you to ask to create a client workbook so that you get your client to word your marketing material. And there's something else that I can't remember at the minute. But when it's done, I'll put the training in unit, and we'll talk about doing a week where, like when we did the selfie project, we'll do a week where we all expand, one person or whatever, to do some hot outreach, just to create a new habit and get a new way of thinking about more actively networking on Facebook, rather than waiting for people to come to you, because people will come to you, but at the same time, without being a spam bot, we can outreach for more deep connection, and that more deep connection earns attention, and that attention can convert into conversations and conversions. Not always, and we don't expect that, but by taking these steps, we can increase the chances of that. So I'll get that done for you in the next 7 to 10 days when I've fully recovered from last week. Now I've got some stuff, some thought to share with you from Expert Empires last week. Probably not in the context that you're expecting. But before I do that, I'm just going to go to chat. So if anything you want to type to me, let's read out if you've got any questions or anything. Right, Jane, read the hourly rate. I'm aiming to have income coming in even when I'm on holiday. It's already happening in a small way. How does this affect the hourly rate? Even when you're on holiday, you're not counting that as an income generating hour, because the income that is coming in while you're on holiday is coming in as a result of the activities that you've done in your income generating hours, right? So you deduct the holiday time and work it out on the hourly, unless you intend to work on the holiday. If you intend to work on the holidays and commit to working on the holidays, you might not want to, but I would take them off, because then they can be bonus hours if you decide to. But the income that you are generating is as a result of the income generating activities that you have done, and the hourly value rate is the value of an hour of your income generating activity. So you're deciding whether to spend that money in the hope of a return on your income generating activities, or to give it away if you choose to spend that hour doing something that isn't income generating. Does that make sense? All right, would you invite someone that you found in the community as a potential client to be your friend, or is that just too weird? So Elaine, the question I was just answering was Jane's. Would you invite someone that you've met in a community, in a group or whatever, to be your friend? So how I do this is, it starts with a conversation. So perhaps they've posted, perhaps you have replied, you've commented, they comment back, then I will send them a request. So it doesn't have to be any more than that, but because now you've started that conversation. But I wouldn't go through the members and just be adding people randomly. So there is something. So when they receive your request, they know who you are. That's the minimum. Sometimes, you will start to notice that they will send you a request as well. It's just really about the vibration. If you vibe with somebody, and you can know that from the first exchange, if you vibe with them, add them, but you're going to do it not because you think that they're an ideal client necessarily, but because you vibe with them, because we're creating a community of your dream clients. It's not about the numbers. It's about that you vibe with them. Because if you don't vibe with them, when they show up in your news feed, you're not going to want to see what they post, which means that you're not going to have the opportunity to create that more deep connection with them, because you're likely going to unfollow them. So I send the request when I vibe with them, because that's me taking active approach to filling my news feed with people that I want to connect with, and B, would love to help, to work with. Connect. I'm using units on my platform. Does the post appear in the general thread as well as the unit? Yes, it does. Right, so if you use units in groups, it does also appear in the newsfeed. Just as an aside, because I did a client consult this morning, if anyone's got a Facebook group, and you've got your page linked to the group, you unlink it, because the reason Facebook gave us that feature was to help you grow your business. And anytime Facebook want to help you grow your business, just know 100% that it's not going to be in your interest to do what they say. In fact, anytime Facebook make a recommendation to you, just know, just smile and know that it's not going to be in your best interest to follow it. It's in their interest, right? So when we come back a bit, Facebook provide this platform for free, or their platform, not this platform. Facebook provide their platform for free. Inside their platform, we can connect with people and keep up with our friends and forge relationships. But the minute we make it obvious to them that we're going to stand to gain commercially, they want to cut. As would you if you had your own website, if you have got your own website, but if you had a website where we all signed up for account and then we were just promoting our stuff and making money, you at some point go, hold on a minute, I want a slice of this money, which is what Facebook did. So the minute you link your page to your group, you are turning the for hire light on and alerting Facebook that you stand to gain commercially from this. And when you do that, they go, well, hold on a moment, we don't stand to gain commercially from this. So what they do is they squeeze you for reach, right? So if you've got a group and you've got your page linked, unlink it as a priority. In fact, do it now. I'll stay here and go and do it now, because it'll kill your page reach. Right. Aside from that, I will reiterate that Facebook don't publish your post instantly. Anytime you write a post, you publish a post, whether it's on your profile, in your groups, on your page, in an event, anywhere, it is not published instantly to all parties. It is dripped over 3 to 4 days. So there is no point in posting something that will expire quickly if you want it to be seen by the maximum number of people. Okay, so if you post, I'm going live at 1 o'clock and it's 9 o'clock in the morning, there is no point, because that many are going to see it. Most people are going to see it the day after tomorrow and the day after that. Okay, so first of all, bear that in mind. The other thing to remember is what, if you're in phase 2, Claire, I know you are. In phase 2, I said that in order to get the maximum eyeballs on your content in your challenge, in your programs, whatever, use the features around Facebook rather than relying on Facebook for the visibility. So if you are, so like when I'm running a free challenge, the posts go into the group, they go out by email. When I'm teaching a program, email goes out. So should be using email to bring people back to the group. Now, while it's a small group, it's not too much of an issue that you tag people. But what you could also do is down the line, what you should also do is down the line, bearing in mind that when you've got 100, 200,000 people in that program, you won't be able to tag, and doing so will likely flag you up to Facebook as well. So you want to be thinking further ahead as to how you can communicate what's in the group in a more structured way. So one way is to use units so that you are training people to go to the unit at a specific time to find the next thing. You can send an email when it's ready. You could use your messenger bot and have members as part of the onboarding, have them sign up to the messenger bot so that you have permission to message them. You could message them when there's something to say. So you could send them the link to your post on Facebook and say the new one is ready. You can set up a group chat, which is a group messenger chat, but I wouldn't do that. I know people are doing it. It's not something that I would do without having permission, because when you send a group chat, everyone in the group sees the post and all of the replies, and it's a little bit irritating when your phone's going off, and you haven't requested for that. Okay, so I would get permission from people, or in the first message say leave the group if you don't want this. That's an option, and tell them how. But you need to be thinking around Facebook, not just in Facebook. How can I bring people? How can I organise and structure so that I can be communicating and bringing people to the post? Okay, rather than just relying on the newsfeed, because it's not gonna happen. Not gonna happen quickly enough, and it's not gonna happen too enough for this to work. Oh. The phone is ringing. Hold on. My landlady's calling my map, but right, go away. Thank you. Right, okay, who's next? Right, I'm still not sure I should be more deep in. I've joined loads of UK small biz sites on Facebook, but they're mostly start. So what you want, this is Matthew. So what you want it's not just about joining small business groups, it's about joining conversations. There's a difference. So there are groups and there are conversations. So like the group that I added you to, not just another business group, that's a conversation. A lot of the small business groups tend to be just promo, or they're so big and noisy that ain't nobody able to hear you. So be looking before you join the group, get accepted, and then scroll through and see what the general vibe of the group is, and be looking for the quantity of conversations. The more conversations that you can get involved in, the more opportunities there are for you to form relationships. So like in this, not just another business group that Adam Carr and Adam Butler are running, it's all conversation. And if you follow the group, you'll see that I'm participating in many of those conversations, and that's how. And then they follow the trail and they come to me, and many of the people in there are ex entrepreneur circle anyway. So these are deep relationships. But also think of your news feed. So what I would say to Eileen about when you've had a conversation with someone, that you add them and you connect with them, and then you can add them to your friend list, and then you can begin to build. But you want to be ensuring that you are having conversations in the places where conversations are happening, and not attempting to kind of cry out into the wind of a group that is just full of promo. Does that make sense? A lot of the ones that identify themselves as small business groups are full of not my people, not our mile deep in people. So keep your eyes open for conversations, you wouldn't go to, she says, not knowing anything about, but you wouldn't go to Speaker's Corner and attempt to have a conversation because they're too busy speaking. And a lot of the small business groups are very full of people speaking and not listening or communicating. So be aware of the different, and just 2 or 3 quality groups is way more valuable than 30 shit ones. So don't worry about how many of the groups, and some of the smaller groups also are powerful, because when you choose a group to mow deep in, you're choosing it for now. So you might, how I tend to do this is to have 2 or 3 that I'm really in for a few months, and then when you get to the point where people start to tag you, as soon as that your thing gets referenced, you can ease back a bit and go and do it in another one. So don't worry about not having loads, just 2 or 3, and don't worry about whether they haven't got huge numbers, because 100 people who know you deeply is way more valuable than a group of 30,000 where they don't really know you at all. Okay, so just look for conversations, good conversation from your type of people, right? And because there are some groups, if there's I hope nobody from the island joins this program down the line and listens back to this call. But over here, a lot of the island groups are the mindset is not our people. They're quite a low brain mentality. God, I hope no one joins from here. Maybe I have to delete this bit. But the thinking is very limited. They're very, very limited thinking, and it will be a complete waste of my energy to try and convert it. That's not my role to convert their thinking. One person at a time. I haven't got time. I don't want to do that. So those groups are not my beacon group. I'm people who are expanded thinking, who are success minded. Where the group overall is success minded. Does that make sense? So just notice the vibe. I've got to scroll back up. I went mad sending friend requests, which was not quite the thing. I had some people ask how I knew them, and then we got chatting about a mutual connection. Yeah. Yeah, it's all about, as soon as you go into a numbers thing about boom, 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 it becomes more about the thing than the relationship. I'm fully about the relationship. That's why I could easily have 5,000 Facebook friends and be doing this whole, I've got so many friends, but that's not how I operate, because I value, right? So rather than just sending out another 2,000 friend requests over the next week and be, yeah, look at me with 5,000 friends, I want people in my newsfeed that I want. I want people in my network that I want in my network, not just anybody. Okay. Do posts go immediately to anyone that follows you? No, they don't go immediately to everybody, full stop. There are some people who always see your stuff quickly because they've got you on their friends list, they've got you on their see first. Any of those things can happen. And when Nick James posts, then I get the notification instantly, 95% of the time, and I see it. If I'm seeing my notification quickly, I see the post quickly. But and a small number will have the post appear in their news feed quickly, and especially if they've resorted to most recent, it will be quickly. but it's not consistent in the same way that the see first and the friends list is consistent. It's way more consistent than waiting for it to appear in the newsfeed. So it's sporadic, but overall, the majority of people will see it in a few days' time, not today. Super hard to find decent groups, as many as full of promo and content, really lacking and struggling with this. Your community are women, and I would, Elaine, I'm answering your question. I would, if I was in your shoes, my goal would be groups of women in business or women in careers who are open of mind, right? So same with what I just said about the island groups over here. I wouldn't be in those. I wouldn't be in mummy and baby groups. I wouldn't be in general parenting groups. I wouldn't necessarily be in general spectrum, children on the spectrum groups either, because you want women who are open to learning more about themselves. And the more women like us, and Andrew and Bill and Vivian and Matthew know about you, the more women like us and parents like us that we know, that we can spread the word through. So I will be concentrating on 3 or 4 conversation type groups, more deepening, so that everybody knows who you are and what you do. Being really mindful, and I'm not talking to you specifically here, but I'm talking in general. When you do posting group, if you have to post in these mild deeping group, personally I would never post in any of my mild deeping group. But if you do have to post in your mild deeping group, your priority mild deeping group, be really, 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 underline, really, again, conscious of how your brand is being represented through your post. I now realise I've got to qualify that with an example, and I can't go. Okay, if this is completely hypothetical, if I was in a group, a mild deeping group, and I needed to know how to do something, I can't think on the spot, how to, let's say for example, my Facebook ad had been rejected. I would never put that in any of my mild deeping groups, because my brand is Facebook. So if I go into a group of people where I am mild deeping to build my expert authority and say, well, do you know what? I don't know how to deal with this. It's an unsell. If you go in there, and I've seen somebody do, not in here, but out. I've seen someone who is they're in this group to build their business, and they're like panic, and the whole aura is like problem, another unsell. Because the brand is being presented as a bit chaotic, a bit impulsive, which is not what people buy into, especially depending on what the brand is. So just be aware of how this message, how this post could be received, but genuinely, I wouldn't be posting. If you can avoid, find another group where you're not intending to mold deep, where if there are any consequences, it's not going to undo months of hard work. But separately, just check in with your energy before you write the post, because if there's any kind of panic, I can't solve this, I don't know, negativity, spurt or whatever, people are going to feel into that, they're going to read it, and is that the way that you want to perceive the brand? Now, I'm not talking to anyone here specifically. The person that I'm thinking about, this is going back years ago in another group, but I'm highlighting it to give you that chance to check in. But going back to you, Elaine, we're looking for women in business, women in careers who are open thinkers, high brain thinkers, is that a term? I don't know. Expansion minded, and networking with them, commenting rather than posting, so that they know who you are. Just like you have over the years in the high performing women group. The group now kind of has almost died out, but that's the type of thing I'm talking about, because there can't be many people in that group who don't know who you are, and that's the kind of thing that we're talking about, so that they then will connect with you through your breadcrumb trail. They'll pay attention to you, they'll be adding you and all of that to get attention to your output, and that's how it works. So look for groups like that. Dawn, could you start your own? There is no point starting your own just for a random group. Yeah, I found that the perfect group. So on one today, John. Oh, right. Who's the cliquey? Okay, Claire, cliquey. Now, we talked about this in the group session on phase 3. There is no clique that you can't enter. There has been no clique that I've wanted to enter that I've been unable to enter, to the point where I have been the recommended person in a paid networking group. So this is a national networking organisation that I am not a member of, nor do I ever attend meetings for, but I was their recommended expert, right? If go back to class 9, because class 8 or 9, no, 9 or 10, I was almost certain I covered this. What you do is you look for the person or people within that clique that you're most vibe with and you're most deep with them. And then when you create that relationship with them, it spans out. If you don't, this is not, again, just pick somebody in order to sales to them down the line. That's not how this works. Make sure you vibe with them, and it's someone that you actually want to. If they weren't in this clique that you're putting behind this barrier, that it's somebody that you would want to connect with, and I've done that thousands of times, and you end up being in this clique yourself. But don't do it if it's somebody that you genuinely want to connect with and it's a clique you want to be in. But there is no such thing as an infiltratable, is that the word? Okay. I can't keep losing my place. Last week, a week before, I read a post from a guy called Kevin Nations. Kevin Nations is like, I think he used to be a business partner of Frank Cohen years ago. But anyway, he wrote this post about 3 different types of mentor. One of them was an entertainer. One of them was an educator. And there was another one, I can't remember because I kind of switched off at educator. So he said the entertainer is the one who is the loud one who can get all of the attention easy. So the entertainer is the person that I would call the extroverted marketer. And you'll likely be able to think of at least one person who it seems like they post constantly a lot, you know? It's just one, bam, 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 right? They can help you to get bam, 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 bam attention yourself, if that is of your personality type. Then the educators. Now, the educators, I believe, are us. It's definitely me. And I don't think any of you would be in the entertainment. I don't see any of you making a lot of noise. We don't need to make noise. So I think we are educated. I think the other one might be data statistician or something. So maybe there's a few of you here. Now, the educator, mentor, you will know a lot about the educator mentor's area of specialty because they will educate you. This is definitely me. Now, the educator and whatever the other one is, which I need to find a post to share it with you, but those two that aren't the entertainer are the two that I perceive are best at running a group for a challenge type thing. So all in, more deep, and then breathe. The entertainer type are the type that I believe are best at running the free groups, because to run a successful free group, there needs to be a constant stream of noise to hold their attention. Because if you aren't putting the noise in, the noise won't come out. And sometimes even the entertainers can't maintain it. But if you think about the groups that you're in, maybe you're not, but if you're in a group where the group leader effortlessly, so it seems, posts several times a day and gets the attention, because there's a difference between posting several times a day where nobody's replying and posting several times a day where lots of people are replying. The latter is the entertainer. So those are the groups where you tend to get the most people congregating, and depending on what the entertainer, because they're there for the entertainment from the entertainer, the info edutainment, and depending on what the leader is entertaining, educating, informating on, can be the groups where the clique exists because they're the circle around the entertainer, which you can infiltrate. And the educators group tends to be more balanced, but there are still cliques of people who have invested the most time in forming the relationship. What a lot of what might be perceived to be a clique from the outside is shared history from the inside. So they've been there for time. Now, you can infiltrate that. You can form relationships quickly, but you've got to put the effort in. You can't, it's no good just saying, I can't get into that clique when you're not investing. You've got to have value. You've got to, you know, like in a real life conversation scenario, two people are talking, you got to participate equally in the conversation. And when you do that in the right way, you can infiltrate. But go back to I think number 9 or number 10. very little activity or a lot of irrelevant activity. So this is now Andrew. So Andrew, I would start with look around your local community business type groups. There, if you think about the people within a community per se, there are like different pockets of people, and there's actually, just off topic, but I've just remembered walking through the Ideal Home exhibition last week and thought of you because there was this company there selling custom made garden furniture. I had to go back and look and just check that you hadn't turned up there, you know, anyway, so those are the people. There is a certain kind of net worth of person who is going to invest in bespoke garden furniture, and you should think about where they might be in your community, and then look for groups, community groups like that where they might be. So, you know, does everywhere have a spotted, for example, like we have spotted Isle of Wight and spotted Worthing or whatever, and spotted is like spotted Isle of Wight is somebody's just somebody had a nice car and yeah, serves them right for wasting money when there's, you know, this kind of thinking. They're not, those aren't the groups where our clients are going to be. We're looking for more. So if there was like a networking type group for Wales, or, you know, community of trade people, that kind of thing, where there's likely to be more worth, to do some searching. And also people that you know, like you, in your area, in your locality, ask them if there are any groups that they hang out in. And sometimes it can be an interest, you know, just, it might be, years ago, I used to be in the forum for Brighton and Hove Albion, in fact, well, I'm still in the forum, but I don't mile deeper than I'm on. And that shared interest was a good space to be as well. So think about what you are passionate about, and see if there's a group for people who are also passionate about it. Why do I choose to not post in my mile deeping groups? I don't choose to not post in my mile deeping groups. Posting is not my natural habitat. The big, the 600 or whatever number of people in the Mile Deep Facebook marketers group are people who have bought from me something or anything. So they're all clients. Now, when it's a free group, there is an expectation that the leader entertains, that there is an expectation that the leader invests a shit ton of energy into keeping the members on side. When it's a paid group, that expectation shifts to an expectation of being supported by the leader. Supporting and educating is my thing. Entertaining a constant stream of things, noise, is not. And I don't want, if I'm going to do that, if I'm going to entertain, I'm going to do it publicly, where the reach will be higher rather than contained in the group. My groups are for support, for mentoring, for basically answering questions. This mastermind group that we're in is the group where I most actively contribute, because when it comes into my head or into my orbit. I share it with you as an added value, but not because I feel that I have to. As soon as I in a free group, I would have to bring 2 to 3 times the amount of energy that I want you to bring, right? And that's not my natural habitat. Oh, you mean, right, oh God. You mean, why don't you post in the groups that you're mild deeping in? Not right. Can we just rewind? Right. You don't post in the group that you are mild deeping in because you are having conversations, like Dawn just said, in order to be listening more than you're talking. Otherwise, when you do post, nobody cares because it's just more noise. If you scroll through your newsfeed and somebody that you've had a communication with, that you've spoken with, post, you're more likely to read it than if it's just a random name that you've never seen before. You create attention, you get visible by going mild deep rather than posting. When and there's also, I don't know if I share this in here, but the bucket theory. I did. Anytime you arrive in a new pocket of conversation, your bucket is empty, right? Completely empty. You fill it up by contributing, by adding value, by commenting, by giving a crap about the people that are in the group. You take out by asking for something, whether that's asking for attention or advice or answers or whatever. So you want to make sure that your bucket, in this case a beaker, is overflowing before you try and take out, right? And the more overflowing it is, the more you get back when you do eventually ask. But I tend not to ask in the groups that I'm mild deeping in because my value, I don't need to post to teach because I do it to the person who, or the people who want to listen to the teach. So if somebody asks a question about how do I get more visibility in my Facebook group, I'll get way more visibility to my value, my response when I comment, because somebody else has seen the post, thought I've got that question, and then they see my reply, than if I was to just post it without doing the mild deeping bit and hope people see it or remember it. Does that make sense? Because the people who notice the post asking the questions are the people who have the issue now, then they get my answer now, rather than I just happen to scroll past it. Does that make sense? Sorry, I went completely around the wrong road there. If you do post negatively, yes, I would. I do see all, and I do alert if I see something. I think Vivian, don't forget to save that comment. I'm going to him. I do see if I see it and it's a bit, I'll pull you up on it. I'll do it in the group. Am I right in saying that you don't start posting in groups unless you remain in the groups? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So I don't, even when I am known, in a group where I am actively mild deeping, even when my bucket is full, I don't post. I can't remember the last time I posted in a group where I'm not doing something with the group owner that they want me to post. I don't. It's all mild deep. All of it is mild deep. Because then you've got the breadcrumb trail set out that we're doing in the kickstart. You get the visibility because you've got 100% visibility in the comments. Anyone who sees the post can see your comment. The people who are seeing the post and reading the comments are interested. We've identified that pocket of people that want that information. Then they see your valuable comment, then they follow your trail, and if it's a good comment, you can then copy and paste it, and you've got something to share with your audience as well. Yeah, we are not entertainers. When we get in a minute, when I get to the end of this list of questions, I'll talk about this because it smacked me right in the face. It did last week. Yeah. mainly buying and selling. Yeah, there's bound to be business group there, Andrew. Bound to be. In fact, I'd put 10 pence on it. Or my Peter Barlow photo says that there is bound to be at least one. Don't take my Peter Barlow photo away from me. I'm not giving him up easily. The bucket lunch is really helpful. Awesome. What about when they have a marketing Monday or whatever? Aha, right. Who asked me that? Claire. And anyone, tell me, today is Monday. How many marketing Monday posts have you seen today, read the comments, and can tell me who these people are, what they do, and what they're selling? You can go, ping, I remember. None. It's a waste of time, right? Because all that does, right, tell me, right, that over here, there's a group over here called the Isle of Wight Overnights group. This is one group that I do hang out in. These are people who have moved over. The Isle of Wight Overnights group have Friday, you're allowed to advertise, right? So what happened on Friday, I don't bother even going into the group because I don't care, right? When I do care, I look for somebody who's asked. I search the group for people who've asked for recommendation and been given recommendations. That's how we get all of our trade people. But I don't care to read the marketing post. So when I see a Marketing Monday post in my newsfeed, it's a sign to me that I can just keep scrolling. And most people would do the same. Yep, it's rubbish, right? It's not worth it. The posts like that are worth it. A while ago, those of you who have just joined may not have heard this one before, but I've talked about the welcome to the group post. So when they go, welcome to our new member, tag, right? That's a waste of time, because if you're not an entertainer, you might be, oh my God, what do I do now? Do I reply? Do I leave it and look unsociable? And then they might ask you, so what do you want out of this group? I don't know, because I've just arrived here. And then introduce yourself. Ain't nobody reading that either. That's just another Marketing Monday thing. There are occasions when it's just cringe, those welcome to the group posts. And the first thing I do is untag, bye. Usually, I don't always. It depends if I can be, if I'm really happy today, I'll just go unfollow. Don't turn notifications off. But sometimes they do a introduce yourself and tell us about your offer. No, not tell us about your offer, but tell us in 20 words what you do. Now, they can be okay, but be one of the last people. Now, there's some caveats to it. We're just going to assume that this is a group that you've actively been mile deeping in, right? The leader posts, so we haven't done this for a while. Tell us in 20 words or less what you are world class at. People will rush to tell the world what they are world class at. What I do is I follow, turn notifications on so that I'm being notified of new comments, just to remind me. And then I'll wait 24, 48, 72 hours. So that by the time I do comment, everybody, perhaps the noise is quieting down. I'm waiting for the noise to quieten down, but also because everybody who's commented before me will be told that I have just commented. So because I've been mild deeping and they're going to be more, I've earned the attention, they're going to be more likely to see what I've commented and then they'll read what I've written, right? So there's a little caveat that you can use to your advantage, but always avoid the noisy period. Now, this is a little extra bonus tip for you, but if you ever want to get the attention of a celebrity, this used to happen a lot when, like Theo Paphitis, he every Sunday does the Small Business Sunday competition on Twitter, and he used to announce the winners at 10 o'clock on Sunday, I think. And then everybody would converge on the winners. Everybody. For the first 24 hours, you would be, is it inundated or inundated? But you would get a colossal amount of tweets, right? Nobody will remember anybody who tweeted, especially if they just go congratulations or something equally benign. But if you wait 48, 72 hours and be the only person tweeting something quite personal, you get their attention. So with celebrities, if you want the attention of a celebrity, don't try and get their attention at the same time that everyone's trying to get their attention. You know, somebody might be on TV right now and 25 million people are tweeting the celebrity right now. Don't be in that pool. Wait, step back until it's quieter, until a period of time where they're not being deluged, and then stand out, and then you like to get more attention. Right. Yeah, the whole theme thing, yeah, I hear you. It does work in some groups. It's quite, particularly when it's conversational based and it's a topic of conversation, but the whole marketing, the whole if you get those like ladders, you know, drop your Facebook page here and we'll like it and you can like each other. Don't ever do that, because half of them will unfollow you and that will kill your reach as well. But okay, so now let me tell you about expert invite. Woo! Number one, the number one thing that I realised is, so before I start, I want to say that Nick and the team are world class at running events. If you enjoy business events, you should go to at least one of his events. And if you do go, if you are in the room, the next one's in June the 20th and 21st. If you are in the room, don't just watch the speakers, pay very close attention to everything, because nothing is accidental about anything that they do. They are super smart people. And I was also looked after exceedingly well. So anything I needed and I brought to their attention, I got. So this is in no way a criticism, and I'm actually really glad that I went, because it's been an amazing experience. But I learned a lot which wasn't from any of the speakers' content. So there isn't much I can share with you about what the speakers taught that you haven't already experienced from me. But I want to share some of the things that smacked me in the face last week that made me realise that I need to up my game. Right. So number one is that business events like that are not designed for sensitives. Right? For you've got, so when you've got me, right, with all of the, give me a list of challenges and we can tick them all off. We've got a dark room, we've got flashing light, we've got noise, loud music, we've got 500 people. Just that was pretty intense. So I had to I had to come in and I had to come out and decompress. So events historically have been created for the extroverted, non-sensitive person, and it's little things like you have the mingle area, right, the bit where you all mingle before they don't let you in the room until it's about to start, and then you all go in together, so you're all like held in this area. And it's a thing about events that there are no seats there, so I have to go and ask for the seat. And I'm not the only one, but I'm probably one of a few that will actually give them my list of demands and know that I'll get what I need. They took extra special care of me, and every time I highlighted something, they dealt with it. This is no way or shape a criticism at all about any of that. Because of all of the events that I could have gone to, this was going to be the best one for me to go to and have this awareness. But going forward, we are a nation of there are more and more people realizing that they're on spectrum, more and more people identifying as empaths, as highly sensitive, and something needs to change about the norm of how these type of events are set up. I don't understand why the main room during a break needs to be dark and pounding with music, with flashing light. It's not a disco, it's an event. And I think going forward, I'm not going to lead this change, but I need to be part of the change, I believe, maybe, to creating more sensitive events that aren't just full of noise. And oh my god, it was just overstimulating. And so I'm aware that I had half of the experience that a lot of other people had, because they're going from this loud and noisy environment to the running around the mingle area, to going to the party, to going out and doing that, and I'm in, decompress, go back in, decompress. That's one thing. That was the minor thing. The thing, so we'll come back to relevance for you now. Another thing that I learned was, and I've said this to you as a group before, but never assume that anything that you think is basic is basic. But I haven't heeded those words for myself, because I watched somebody on the stage teach LinkedIn. It was a really good session, and the person who taught it is amazing. She is my LinkedIn expert. But I'm sitting there listening to her and listening to what's the vibe of the reading into the vibe of the room, and it was a really valuable session. And it smacked me in the face that this is basically the level that I'm teaching in Kickstart, but I'm not teaching it to enough people, because I just made it the pre-prep for you. But in fact, she on stage, she when you join Nick's mastermind, you get this magnum of champagne, and she said that she was going to open it on her first £50,000 month, but it was actually a £200,000 month, because she won a huge contract to go and teach somebody or other employee basically what she taught us in the room. And I wait, you know, there are organisations and people who need to know what I'm teaching you in Kickstart, but I haven't expanded my awareness in that way, because I don't really know, but that smacked me in the face. Like, what I'm seeing is basically someone else has been paid 200 grand to teach, not on the same platform. I'm not competing at all, but her style is very similar to mine. So that was a smack in the face. But then we had Fabienne Fredrickson, who did her session. I've seen her session as a webinar before, but that's not a problem. But when she's doing the selling, she's talking very much about how we will support. You will be like brought into this so supportive community, and we'll help you work this out and that out. We're really selling the we of this, but I know that she's not in that group. She's in it, but she's not present in the group. And so I'm already on the journey of this, because I've discovered this some weeks ago. But that's why when I'm when I'm talking to people about joining this program, a lot of people say to me, you know, I've been promised support before and not got it. So how do I know that you're going to deliver? So that's why a lot of our testimonials are focused on how much I support and help, because that's what I get out of bed to do. That's the thing that I enjoy the most, is seeing you all succeed, and that's my role to aid that. And so, you know, I would take a stand against that. And then, but more than anything, it was the general message of anyone teaching about social media was, yet again, make more noise, post more often, post more content, create more content, publish more content, post. Several people come up to me in a break and said, you know, when I was listening to this, I was thinking of you, because for entertainers, that's easy. And these people teaching this were entertainers. But my community are not entertainers. And we can't, I did interested in Q&A, we can't force ourselves to be like this. We can do it for a short period of time, but it's not something that we can sustain, so it's not going to work. Where going more deep, you get way more visible anyway, because if you post 5 times, if you push yourself to post 5 times a day and 20 people see it, where you can stay within your zone of genius and be seen by, you know, a couple of thousand with one comment, you know. So I need to make more of a stand for my people about the fact that you don't have to be this high energetic 24/7 machine to succeed on Facebook. But really it was overwhelmingly 2 things for me. Was number one, own, you know, value what you know and own it, because no matter how basic you think something is, somebody else is being paid good money to share it. So don't shrink your value, don't undersell your value. And number 2, the world is not designed for sensitive people. I mean, I knew this. I'm always aware of this. It's just when I'm in the real world that it's a very different world for me to online. But, you know, it's not designed for sensitive people, but the message is to be aware, be recognized within yourself where your value is, where your discomfort comes from, and to check in with yourself about whether it's a discomfort that needs to be worked through, or whether it's a discomfort that you're being made to feel it's a discomfort because the outside world hasn't adapted yet. And if that's the case, where that's the case, give yourself permissions to be where you shine the best. So from my perspective, I don't need to be at those big events as an attendee. It's not my zone, not my space of genius. I can speak at them because then I can go in and I can deliver my value and I can leave. But as an attendee, that's not the best use of my £500 an hour. It was this time. I knew I needed to be there this time. And the message that I've come away with is will give me an ROI beyond the, I don't know, 10 grand or whatever in value and cost me to be there. But going forward, there's this, FOMO, fear of missing out. It's not a reason to do something. Know the value rate, know your hourly value rate, and check in as to whether you are using that time, spending that money in the best way for you to get results, for you to have an amazing experience in the world, and where the discomfort is coming from. Is it an external projection? Are you feeling discomfort because of an external thing that actually is just not for you, or is it something that needs to be worked through? And you will know the answers to that. But for me, it was, I don't need to be in those big rooms as an attendee. It's not. The challenges of it outweigh the benefit going forward. Not this time, because I've got the benefit. All of this awareness there were a couple of things we haven't assimilated what we have actually learned yet, because this is the loudest thing that I've come away with. Any lessons I'll share in the next one, any actual teaching lesson. But the world in general is teaching to be more noisy, and the world in general is very noisy. We don't have to contribute to that noise where noise is not our default, is what I'm saying. Yeah, we do, and I know I've taught this before, that what you think is basic isn't basic, but the scale of those numbers, 200 grand in 1 month from teaching what at the same level as what I've put into a pre-work category. It's not, I've got to stop. Do let this overtake me sometime. So I'm thinking if I got a certificate, I would be. Yeah, no, mate. Honestly, there was one session where they were saying, pared down. It was sell your passion. So there was an hour or so around that. They've been paid to be on that stage to share their message. There is nothing so basic that somebody wouldn't pay you to hear their message. No, I didn't speak, not this time. Now, when I knew, and I'm talking about, right, full body, yes, that I needed to be at this event, I thought it was because I wanted to speak. I remember a few calls ago, and I said to you on this quick call, I said that I'm going to pitch Nick to speak now that we've got this 6-figure result from him implementing the My Deep Marketing Method. And at the time, I thought that was the method. But as time went on, it wasn't a full body yes for me to pitch it. And because most of the speakers who weren't his famous people were mastermind members, so it would have had to have been me pitching him rather than him approaching me necessarily. As time went on, it wasn't a full body yes for me to pitch, to speak that. And now I know why, because the message that I would share at that event next time would not have been the same message that I would have shared this time. Because the realizations that I've had this time, the message is more for, number one, guys in this audience, if you've ever listened to somebody on a stage like this telling you to make more noise, I'm here to tell you that that doesn't have to be the case, that you do not have to become somebody else in order to make money, build a great business online. Right? So that message wouldn't have been as, I wouldn't have had such a stand on that. I had a stand, but it wasn't such a huge stand as it was having sat and listened to at least 4 people say that on stage. You need to get in front of the people that really see that as your value and therefore pay you the big bucks. Right, now this comes down to the moral deeping again, because just Friday night somebody posted a question, I answered it. They messaged me and said, I'm really impressed with your knowledge of Facebook, can I pay you to teach me what you know? Yeah. So you have to put yourself in the room, when you're in the right room. And that's what I'm saying about looking for groups where people have more, now are spending money. Somebody once, Cat Ivanova once said, if there's ever an event, look for the people that are on a VIP ticket, because they're already investing, and above, because they're already investing in their growth. And so, it's looking for the people who are at the VIP level of Facebook, because they're already investing. And that's that. Yeah, what do we think? Joanna Martin taught me years ago, somebody woke up this morning wishing they knew what you know. And that is basic. So, now, one of the things that she taught on LinkedIn, right? If you open up the LinkedIn app, I don't know if this is going to work on my airplane, right? If you open up the LinkedIn app, somewhere it says at the top, right, when you click on the people icon, at the top it says find nearby. So when you're in a room with people, you can click on find nearby. So one of the things she took themselves, click on that, and all of the people in the room who are on this page will pop up. It runs on Bluetooth. Now, you might think, well, surely that icon and that icon is really basic. If it says find nearby, it's quite obvious that that means find people nearby. But that was one of the biggest takeaways from the talk. And so what you think is really basic, somebody will go, oh my God, you have just changed my world. So change the thinking, and maybe go away and make a list of 10 things that you think are really basic, and over the next 10 days teach them with a call to action. Yeah, when something is inherent to you and you do it naturally without having to think about it, it takes time to realise. So see that as a little exercise after this call. Go away and think about all the things that you know how to do naturally that someone else wishes they knew. Can you do that on Facebook too? No. But, in Facebook there are things that are You can't do the fines. I don't think you can do the fine nearby. You can, yeah, you've got friends that are nearby, but not people. But you know, like adding your page as a workplace would be an example of something that I would think is really basic, but it's not, because not everyone does. Or putting the URL in your bio, but it's not, because not everyone does know this stuff. So think about, make a list, ponder on what you think is really basic. See you later, Ollie. We need to go soon. As our free Facebook Kickstart fast for super easy to develop content for. Delivery is harder, but the impact is too. Yeah, it's thing. You know, if you ever do a webinar or a talk, the webinar or a talk where you think, webinar and talks where I talk what doesn't feel like very much at all are the ones that people say to me, that was really amazing. Where I think I talk well, it really is. Claire, the cold or warm thing, there is a quick answer for it, and that was the veins, the blue or the green veins. It'd be one quick thing, but we wouldn't know that. Right, I think that's 90 minutes that you've been with me here. So anybody wants the hot seat? If not, I'll get rendering and pop the replay in the group, and then we'll come back next Friday. We've got 3 people who are just at the stage of creating their offers. If you've got 5 minutes to go through their copy, Dawn, Eileen and Tiffany, and review their copy as a punter, and I pick up if there are any unanswered questions for you before they take them publicly. That would be really valuable if you've got a moment. And otherwise, we'll be back here next Friday. Next Friday, I'm not going to guess at the date. Next Friday, the 12th of April. We'll be back here at 1:30. They're all in the group, yeah. All of the posts, if you look at Tiffany's posts, they're all there, but I'll create another post of the link to review and just go through. You don't have to critique the copy per se, but you're just looking to see if there are any jars for you, or any unexplained, any confusion anywhere, anything that would unsell it before they take it out. I'll sort that out when I pop this replay in there. Okay, I think we've done them. So I'll see you back here Friday the 12th at 1:30, and go and make your list of things that you think are basic, and I think you'll be surprised. And then you can start sharing them in your content and get the word out there. All right, I'll see you soon. Bye.